Howdy, everyone. I hope you're having a wonderful day today or evening. No matter where you are, do something you really enjoy doing. Just take a few moments, if you've got a few moments to yourself. Just release and do something you really enjoy. Whether it be listening to music, drawing, painting, playing guitar, whatever the case may be. I mean, for me, I like a lot of those things. Like today, I've got a few moments here. The cousin and his youngest daughter, she's 2, so she doesn't go to school yet, they wanted to see his dad. So that gives me a few moments to do what I enjoy doing, which is doing more God Bless Freemasonry stuff and fellowcraft. Yeah, I love it. So, let us begin. Now, before we go any further with the pages, I do just want to kind of remind you, this is God Bless Freemasonry, and I am doing this series, to dispel a lot of negativity that you might find online. Now, when I first became, well, let me just start further. When I was coming to Masonry, before I became a Mason, I had turned to online, and make sure this is set on my cradle right, because I have that wireless charger pad. And pardon the shirt, yeah, it's cold, so I have a pullover on. Just don't read the label, because I'm not being paid for it, I should be. So when I was coming to Masonry, you can find a lot of stuff online about Masonry. And I turned to YouTube, like I had said before in previous episodes. I turned to YouTube hoping to find a lot on Masonry. And I did, but unfortunately it wasn't all that good. It wasn't from actual Freemasons like myself. It was from a lot of people that want you to believe they know and don't. And a lot of negativity. My nose itch, sorry. There's more negativity out there than anything that you'll find, So, like I've said, this show was a long time in the making. It took, about a year, really, for me to really pull this, and this, and this, and this, and this, and this, and here we go. So, it is in hopes with this series that if anyone out there is thinking about becoming a Freemason, you can learn a little. You can learn a lot from this show, especially seeing what I'm going through and teaching you. This is specifically for California Freemasons, but you'll get the general gist. Even if you happen to be in like Montana or New York, which I'm sitting here in New York right now, even on up to another country. Some of the words might be different, and so on. But, you'll get the basic gist of what we're doing. And it is with hopes that I can dispel a lot of negativity through trying to educate everyone that doesn't really know and wants to slam, but wants people to think they know all about it. And is for my brothers. Now, I've come to Freemasonry. I'm a Master Mason. I've discussed in previous videos how long I've been a Mason, since 2014. And I really hope to do well with this show. I want it all, like I've said, completely you and me. And that's it. I don't want no fancy smancy kind of stuff. I don't want to make it look like it's a multi-million-dollar budget project. It's not. Now, if you want to find something like that with multiple people sitting in the audience and a podium and everything, go look somewhere else. Chances are you're not going to find real stuff, though. And I'm sorry if you can hear the vibration. I should have put my phone on silent, but I guess I didn't. Because, I mean, like, what if something happens, dude? You know, and, like, my cousin's got to get a hold of me, right? So I did want it. But at any rate, I'm really hoping to do well with this show. To educate a lot of people, dispel a lot of negativity that is out there, and to give people the chance to learn what we as Freemasons are all about, and what we learn, and from there you can go from there, man. You want to become a Mason? Watch my show. I've told you all about how to do it. If all you want to do is educate yourself, dude, sit back, grab a cup of coffee, tea, a couple crumpets, you know, whatever you want, dude, you know, and enjoy it. I'm covering all kinds of materials. You know, right now I'm doing, or about to do, the second degree of Freemasonry for California. Some of the words might be a little different, you know, wherever you are, but you get the basic gist, man. And I'm going to read this to you today. Now, I'm doing this in a live form, and really, I hope all that vibrate doesn't get in the way of you hearing me. So if at any point you're hearing all that vibrate in the background because I'm getting notifications left and right and it's causing a problem you can't really hear or understand, or could I repeat myself? By all means, dude, let me know. Okay? Now, with your second degree, this is fellowcraft. So, let us begin. Or in the wise words of Ozzy Osbourne, and I'm a huge freak for Ozzy Osbourne, let the madness begin. Yeah. Okay. Congratulations on your preferment and your advancement to the Masonic degree of a fellowcraft. The fellowcraft degree, which is your second degree in Freemasonry, you have just experienced, embodies a great deal of knowledge and wisdom. And that's also ancient wisdom, okay? Because we are going back to a time immemorial. The symbols and lessons can take a lifetime to fully appreciate. And that's true for any degree, even with your entered apprentice, which is the first degree of Freemasonry, okay? You can be an entered apprentice your entire life. And I actually think that we all are entered apprentice our entire lives. And this is a little awkward for me, so let me stand up and move this camera over a little. Move my cane out of the way. And here we go. Its symbols and lessons can take a lifetime to fully appreciate. This Fellowcraft Handbook should be studied carefully, as it reviews much of the ritual associated with this degree in order to help you, the newly passed Fellowcraft Mason, to better understand and benefit from this unique experience. Now, a lot of the brothers within my own lodge, and that I've talked to myself, you know, online or in person, whatever, Fellowcraft is like real big in a lot of people. They've done all their degrees, even master and so on, but the Fellowcraft seems to mean a lot to a lot of people. So check all this, dude. Many Masons believe that the second degree, the degree of Fellowcraft, is the most beautiful and moving, if not the most enlightening, of the Masonic degree trilogy. And that's first, second, and third degree, your entered apprentice, fellow craft, and master mason. There are several ways the meaning of the fellowcraft degree and its place between the first and third degrees of masonry have been explained over the years. In one sense, the fellowcraft degree symbolizes the period of adulthood and responsibility during a man's life on earth, following youth and preceding old age. In this stage, man's task is to acquire knowledge and apply it to the building and refining of his moral character and to improve the society in which he lives. Oh, I love the mochays. Go ahead, you should still have more food in your dish over there if you want to jump over that little gate. Child safety gates. So, really, I've explained to you before that while you become a master mason, letting go of your superfluities in life, your childlike mentality, a teenager's mindset of, I know it all, and you really are developing yourself into a true adult mindset on your way into Master Mason and everything. I think everything that I've learned here, just so you really know, and I'm going to take a second here to tell you once again, kind of deal. Everything I've learned as a Mason throughout my 3 degrees has been life-changing for me. It's been hugely rewarding for me. I hold Freemasonry very near and dear to my heart, all because of the stuff I'm reading to you. I have applied all of this within to myself for my own advancement, from letting go of my childlike mentalities and superfluities in life to advancing my mind. And it really is like you're a rough ashler before you get into masonry, which is like, I've explained is like, it's not cut into a cube just yet, so that you can end up, going through your degrees and from there shape yourself, your mind, into a cube that you can place and build like your pyramid. And I do say like a pyramid just because it's kind of easier for you to grasp what I'm saying when it comes to rough ashlar and perfect ashlar. Like, it's turning your mind from all these rough spots where you need to work on that a little more, chiseling away at all the crap in life and becoming a better person. I hold all of this very near and dear to my heart, and I always will. Now, I believe in this stuff so much so that not only am I wearing a ring that was given to me by a brother, and I love him, but I am a true Mason in my heart because I believe in this stuff. Not for anything else or anyone else, but for me, man. Now, whether this is right for you or it's wrong for you, however you want to look at it, dude, roll with it. This isn't a religion. It's just tools, so to speak, to become a better person and walk a better path in life. Being a better person to yourself, your friends and family, and your whole entire community. Because in the end, we do a lot of charitable deeds. That's what Masonry is about. Becoming a better person, letting go of all the crap in life, and just helping other people. Being there to help your community. is an absolutely amazing feeling. So if you personally have never done anything in your community, be it like helping with the homeless, or, doing an AIDS walk or a cancer walk, it's something that'll really help more than just you. And I'm getting a lot of notifications. I really should have put this on silent. But, my cousin's out. We're getting a lot of snow. It's going to snow today even more. And, I do need to be able to be sure that if anything happens, I can be right there for the phone, okay? Now, if I were not a Mason, I'm still the kind of person that would want to be there for other people. Like my cousin right now, who's going up on the top of a mountain, like in this weather, you know. But I thank God for being a Mason because I take pride in being this kind of person. One that if you were to sit down and I am taking a little detour for a second, my bad. But, if you were to sit down and ask yourself, what is my ideal best friend? What is a best friend? What is someone that helps the community? What kind of person is that? If that's something you're into, you want to be a better person for your friends and your family and for your community, and it's not about making you look better. It's about being better. If that's the kind of person you are, here you go, babe. So, where did I leave? There are several ways, I'll go back to here, right? There are several ways the meaning of the Fellowcraft degree and its place between the first and third degrees of Masonry have been explained over the years. In one sense, the Fellowcraft degree symbolizes the period of adulthood and responsibility during man's life on Earth, following youth and preceding old age. In this stage, man's task is to acquire knowledge and apply it to the building and refining of his moral character and to improve the society in which he lives. That is a Freemason. As the principal author of our modern Masonic lectures, like whoever wrote this stuff, right? And then you have William Preston, saw Freemasonry as a means to educate men in the liberal arts and sciences in order to better mankind. Because we take the tools and we don't just say, hey, this is for this. We apply it to ourselves and our mentalities. We're not shaping buildings per se, we're shaping ourselves into better people. And we do learn a lot. I mean, like, before this, I would have never learned all kinds of stuff. I mean, like, yeah, you take liberal arts and sciences in college. Not like this, dude. It's totally different. Fellowcraft Masons of today are also urged to advance and appreciate their education in these fields during the ritual of this degree. But I also think that you should advance yourself with education on any level. If you want to go to school to be an architect, if you'd use these tools, If you want to go to be a musician, whatever the case may be, man. You want to be a teacher for kindergarten or college. I mean, like, dude, go back to school. Education is extremely important. And without proper education, I mean, come on, dude. I mean, you're not going to get the job that you want. You're not going to get the pay scale that you want. You need to advance yourself. I'm really sorry about all the vibrates. If you can hear that, somebody let me know if you can. And if it's, too much, my bad. Let's see. Some view the 3-degree system of ancient craft masonry as representing a progressive science directed towards perfecting man's basic nature. And it is. You're building yourself into a better person than you were the day before. Not better than anyone else, better than you were the day before. This is all about improving yourself, making yourself better for your friends, family, and community, and outward. It is a view of human nature divided into the 3 parts of body, mind, and soul. In this view, each degree addresses and instructs one part of that Masonic trinity. The first degree encompasses the body and its faculties of physical action. You need to let go of all your superfluities in life and everything before you can clear your head out and start learning and start becoming a better person. The 4 cardinal virtues are extolled as the proper guides to action in the world that we may perfect our relationship to it. The second degree addresses the mind and its faculties. The candidate is instructed in the 7 liberal arts and sciences, which were formulated hundreds of years ago in order to develop and perfect man's mental faculties in preparation for comprehending the final mysteries of our spiritual truth, which are exemplified in the 3rd and final degree of Blue Lodge Masonry. Now, a lot of you seem to think that 1st, 2nd, and 3rd, that's your beginning. And you're not as high up as you can be unless you've got a 32nd or 33rd. And I've known a lot of people that are like, oh, well, he was as high as you can get. No, honey, that's not the way it is. Being a Master Mason, your 3rd degree, being a Master Mason is as high as you go in Freemasonry. Anything else after that is an appendant body and just another number. But you're not going to get any higher than your 3rd degree, which is Master Mason. A Master Mason is as high as you go in Freemasonry. Now you can learn a little bit more through an appendant body. You can go all the way up into being honored with a 33rd. But that doesn't mean that you're as high as you go at that point. Because in reality, a Master Mason is it. If you don't understand, go ask other Masons. Okay? Because if you're not getting it from me, and you won't hear it from me, here you go. And I think the cat wants to go outside, even though it's really, really cold outside. So, I'll give it a minute, but I may have to walk over to the door here and let him out. Honey, do you want to go outside? Do you need to go potty? I'll let you out, baby. I love you. Now, duly and truly prepared, once again. On the outset of this degree, and let me put this over the label, you know, because I'm not getting sponsored. It should be clear to the candidate that although much of the ritual seems familiar, it is also very different, and some aspects might even seem to be in opposition to the previous degree. It's not the case. I understand, you know, I get it, you know, but no, it's not. It all goes hand in hand. The changes in dress from an entered apprentice mason to a fellow craft mason have been explained in the ceremony. And that's how you wear your apron and, you know, all of that good stuff, right? Make sure you come to masonry, dress nice. Don't disrespect me and my lodge or my brothers by showing up. But I mean, at the end of the day, really, I mean, if you're coming from work and you happen to work on a farm and you're covered in, dirt and whatever, man, you're in shorts, t-shirt, you should dress nice. But really, no one's gonna say anything. Like, if you're like, dude, I just got home from, come on, man. But you do want to look nice. So if you have a black suit, run it. Even when it comes to walking into a stated meeting for your very first time, you're not a Mason, you just want to go and see what it's about. Show some respect. Dress nice. You wouldn't want to show up to an interview dressed like crap, dude. I mean, you would want to take it seriously. Because in the end, it's a reflection of you. If you feel that something is important, you want to dress nice. You want to dress for the occasion. Gaining admission is similar to the first degree, with the addition of the added benefit of a password. Password, same thing, which is given to him by his guide. We are trying to demonstrate that knowledge and energy are freely given towards gaining the privileges, and more properly called the rights and benefits, of Freemasonry. And that not only by the aid of others, we are able to ourselves advance. Your method of reception into the lodge room was also familiar at this stage, because, I mean, you've been an entered apprentice, you've been inside, Yet different in its specific admonition, to always act by the square of virtue. Now, you want to go outside, baby? Give me just a second. I'll let you out, honey. Go ahead. Here you go. Now, it's cold out, so don't stay out too long, okay? I don't want you to freeze outside. Here you go, my love. Enjoy. So I knew the cat was going to want to go outside. I told you. What was I saying? Oh, yeah. You act by the square virtue, okay? So we have a lot of sayings, a lot of expressions, a lot of that, and I'll do a whole separate video like I, had been asked by one of the brothers a while ago when I was piecing together, I was pulling together various little things to kind of lay this out. Now, I do want it kind of scattered a little bit so that we're covering all kinds of things all at once. You'll see why in the end, But you want to, with being a Mason, we conduct ourselves properly. I take this very seriously. I take what I learned very seriously. It means the world to me. This may not mean anything to you. It might seem dumb or boring. Whatever you want to think, dude. But to me, this is important. So don't be slamming on me for something I feel it's important. Because I'm still human, dude. We as Masons online are often like, oh no, you can't say that because you're a Mason. It's like, no, dude, I'm still human. You make me mad and I'm gonna let you know it. You know what I mean? But yeah, I mean, people think that, because we're a Mason, we're not allowed to be human anymore. And that's not the case. I've explained to people, you come at me with respect, and I will give you respect in return. Mutual. 50-50, dude. I am not going to have you come at me in all kinds of attack mode. And I'm like, oh, because I'm a Mason, I'm just going to be all like, that's so fabulous of you. Because, dude, I'm not. I'm still human, and I'm going to want to, like, say something and put you in your place. But we do try to conduct ourselves a little better than you people conduct yourselves. So I get it. Now, the just and legally constituted lodge. A lodge of Masons is considered just if the three great lights of Masonry are properly displayed upon the altar. I've explained what that is, what the three great lights are, and everything else. So if you're just coming into this episode, new to this whole thing, sit back and watch them all, dude. Start from the beginning, work your way up. Now also, when it says altar, don't even act dumb enough to come at me like, I saw a video on YouTube and you're sacrificing babies. That's not the kind of altar I'm talking about. And if you can't comprehend it, hold your thoughts, dude, because you're gonna look a little dumb. So, educate yourself. Watch this show. And if you still have questions, like I've said, by all means, ask away. Because then I'll know you're not just coming at me with slam and attack like we all get. I think Masons are some of the most attacked people on the planet. Yeah. I think all of you out there that attack Freemasons are just uneducated, ignorant. And that's not a slam. It just means that you don't know what is going on and you want to say something for this, that, or whatever reason. So if you're watching this series, you'll know. For the Lodge of Masons to be legally constituted means that the charter of the lodge issued and sealed by the Grand Lodge under which the lodge is beholden. So I'm a California Mason. To have my lodge just and legally constituted, it has to be approved by the Grand Lodge in California. You see what I'm saying? Is displayed and thus authorizes the lodge to be working, in other words, conducting proper Masonic business. So there are lodges that are not like that. They're not real. I'm sorry. If you are in a lodge that is not just and legally constituted by a Grand Lodge, you can call it Freemasonry all you want, and it's not. The working tools of a fellow craft Mason. Now I've covered what is in the first degree, which is your entered apprentice. I've told you those working tools. You take those tools, which are actual tools, dude, you can use to build a building with, but, that was operative when it comes to building a building, and speculative is you relate it to yourself and your mentality, and you build yourself into a beautiful, glorious temple kind of deal, I mean, it's not saying, we're God, worship me, and it's nothing like that. It's just we use these tools like a chisel. You can chisel away at all the crap in your life and you'll end up with some gorgeous sculpture, You want to work your way into becoming a gorgeous sculpture, so to speak, with your mentality. Not physicality, just mentally. So, the working tools of a fellow craft The principal working tools of the fellow craft mason are the plumb, the square, and the level. You'll notice that these same three instruments are also the jewels of office for the three principal lodge officers: the worshipful master, the senior warden, and the junior warden. Now, I've read those before to you, what they are down the line and so on. So you should already be aware what these things are, what these people are, and what their titles mean to a mason and a lodge. Now, the plumb. The plumb is an instrument made use of by operative stonemasons to try perpendiculars and to see that the rising courses of the stone wall are true to the cornerstone and to the center of the earth. Okay, so it's back in those days, they would actually build with a plumb. And you can still build with a plumb now, but we translate to ourselves, okay? Give me a second, you'll see. To the speculative Freemason, however, which is today's times, the plumb is a symbol of moral rectitude, of uprightness, of conduct, of living an ethical and good life, and of acting on the straight and narrow path of truth, justice, and mercy. By living such a life, we are thereby a greater benefit to the fraternity, to those around us, and to all of society. Of which you just go over that once again. And how can you not look at it that way, dude? Freemasons are charged, which is required, to act by the plumb. And their dealings with other brother Masons and with others, placing fairness and honest dealing above personal gain and profit. So if we're going to work together, we need to totally make sure that, I'm not shorting myself out, you're not shorting yourself out, we're doing everything good to go, it's all legal, we're all gaining, blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? And my phone's vibrating, letting me know it agrees, Now, the square. The square is an instrument made use of by operative stonemasons to square their work to what is true with respect to the foundation and the cornerstone of the building. Now, to the speculative Freemason, the square is also a symbol of morality, truthfulness, and honesty. The direction of the two sides of the square form an angle of 90 degrees, or a right angle. So called because this is an angle which stones must have if they are to be used to build a stable and upright wall. Kind of like building a pyramid, you know what I mean? Or a stone wall, like they're just saying, whatever, dude. I mean, you can't have a lopsided stone somewhere in there and think it's going to hold up right. But as speculative, you're like, dude, I need to make sure all my crap is dealt with and I'm becoming the best that I can be, which is building my own wall kind of thing, So, here you go. So, God bless Freemasonry for making me a better person and showing me the way. Using these little things, all the stuff that I'm reading to you, and that I'll continue to read to you, it just kind of makes you want to live a better life. Better than you were the day before. I don't want to be a crappy person. I want to be a good person. I don't want to just help myself. I want to help others. But before I can help other people, I need to work on myself. Now, if I'm a pain in the butt, and I've got a nasty attitude, and I'm a crappy person, and I'm angry all the time, I'm not getting anywhere. But if I deal with my own issues and blah, 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 you know what I mean? Like, you can become a better person. That's what all this is helping you with. It's not a religion. It's just a beautiful way of living your life. So, let's see. It symbolizes accuracy, and that's with the square, right? We're still on square. Not varying by even a single degree. Now we're just talking about the 90-degree angle, okay? When Masons part upon the square, we may travel in different directions, but with full knowledge that our various courses in life will be guided according to the angle of the square, which means in the right direction, until we meet again. So we meet in a lodge, and we can part on the square, and we know that until we meet again at the lodge, we're being the best that we can be for other people and our communities and so on. Now the level is an instrument made use of by operative stonemasons to prove or determine horizontals. To the speculative Freemason, the level is a symbol of equality. Each person is endowed with worth and dignity, which is truly spiritual, and should not therefore be subject to man-made distinctions. Masonry recognizes that one man may have greater potential in life, service, or reward than another. So some people have a lot of money and they're born into a lot of money, while some people are poor, dude. And it doesn't matter either way. If you're a good person, you're a good person. Money's not going to buy you being called a good person. You get it? Where did I leave? Okay, but we also believe that any man can aspire to any height, no matter how great. So you can be poor or you can be rich. You want to be a better person? Money's not buying that. And the money you've grown up with isn't going to help you. Money doesn't make you a good person. Your life, whether you're blessed and someone's not, doesn't mean nothing. You can be a pharaoh, you can be a peasant. You're the same thing. You're just a man. And if you live a decent life, you try to be the best that you can be and better than you were the day before, it doesn't matter what you come from. We don't really discriminate. Now there is, like I said before, a white people's version and a black people's version, which I don't really think is right. That wasn't up to me all those thousands of years ago, let alone hundreds of years ago. Okay? I didn't say, no, I don't want black people in my lodge. Let's give them another thing and let them deal on their own. But if you've ever been into an old house and you see the black and white tile floor, it all fits together. It's all a part of the same thing. And I love my Prince Hall brothers. To me, there's no difference between a black man and a white man, a red man, yellow man, purple man, whatever you want, dude. If you're a decent person, you're a decent person. But if you're a crappy person, you're a crappy person. And I think we all know what that means. Yeah! So, let's see. Thus, the level dignifies physical as well as mental labor and the man who performs it. The level also symbolizes the passage of time, which, in the final analysis, will level us all when we're at last called from earthly labor to face the Supreme Being and have our life's work reviewed. So when you die and you go to heaven, that's what it's saying. Masons are encouraged to meet on the level, and we part on the square, with their Masonic fellows as well as all others, as the journey through this world together, realizing that in his eyes, we're all equal. We are. You can be rich, you can be poor, you can be black, you can be white, whatever you want, dude. A human being is a human being. There is only one race, and that is the human race. And if you're going to be the kind of person that divides that into separate parts, you and I aren't going to get along. I don't deal with racism. I'm not going to tolerate it in my life or around me. And I'm not going to sit here and want to hold a conversation with you, let alone let you into my house. You know what I mean? Now, the apron of the fellow craft mason. The manner in which a fellow craft mason is taught to wear his lambskin apron is symbolic of the fact that he is now considered by his brothers to be a qualified worker, or hewer. And that's H as in happy, E as in Eeyore, W as in Walt. Walt Disney was a Mason. E as in Eeyore, R as in Ratatouille. Okay? In the forest and in the quarries, and no longer a mere apprentice and bearer of burdens with little or no responsibility. Now, in California, we may have some lodges somewhere throughout California with the rock quarries. I only know those to be here in New York, and I know them to be in Nova Scotia. Because I have some brothers in Nova Scotia. I mean, they're all over the world, right? But I know... yeah. I've seen your pictures. And really... post more pictures of yourself as a Mason, and if you're dealing with a rock quarry, because, you know, this talks about a rock quarry, and some of you out there actually do get to do this at a rock quarry. And I think that's fantastic, because you're outside in God's element. You're in God's home. No matter where you go, but I mean, like, dude, if you're outside doing this, I mean, that's awesome, you know? But, okay, here we go. The same thing applies to your method of pedal advancement and the tokens, grips, signs, and modes of recognition conferred upon you during the ritual of your passing from entered apprentice to fellow craft mason. Since there is now little to distinguish the fellow craft from a master mason, but there is, at least in the manner of ritual dress, it is important for the newly passed fellow craft to remember that his actions and deportment may very well be those upon which the whole of Freemasonry is judged. Dude, there's no face in Freemasonry. No matter who you are, where you are. We don't have a face of Freemasonry. But at the same time, when somebody walks into your lodge and you're hanging out, you become the face of Freemasonry for them, dude. I mean, like, they're looking at you. You need to conduct yourself accordingly. We take ourselves and stand upright. And our dealings, with our actions, and everything. So you don't want to be a bad example, because in that moment alone, you are the face of Masonry for someone new. You know what I mean? So the pillars and the porch two great bronze pillars, which were placed at the entrance to King Solomon's temple. Here we go with the Bible again. And are now symbolically represented within every Masonic lodge, are called Boaz and Jachin, respectively. These pillars are symbolic of strength and establishment, and by implication, power and control. One must remember that power and control are placed before you, so that you might come to realize that power without control is anarchy. Or, conversely, that control without power is futility. Man must have both power and control in his life, or if his life is to be successful. Lighting. These two great pillars were designed and cast by Hiram Abiff, the widow's son, from the tribe of Naphtali. And you can read that in Kings 7:13 through 14. So here we're going with more Bible stuff, okay? We're not evil. We're not Satanists. We don't worship anything but a supreme being. That's called God in most people's minds. I really don't understand what the problem is for a lot of people out there. And it irritates me. It irritates me because some people come at us, mostly online, because that's where everyone is these days. And people come at us and they just want to attack and say all kinds of nasty things because they don't know any better. And that's okay, dude. But let me help you understand. Let me educate you. And then if you still want to say something like that, go back to preschool. Because you're a child. You know what I mean? Because you're not listening to reason, you're not listening to reality. You just want to believe what you want to believe. And a lot of people are like that. Unfortunately. So, the globes on the capitals of the columns are said to represent the celestial and terrestrial spheres of heaven and earth. And man walks between heaven and earth. Do you get that? And when I say heaven, or earth, or altar, you keep your childlike mentality out of it. Like so many think that they don't have and do. The pillars also correspond to the three great supports of Masonry. Now, the three great supports of Masonry are wisdom, strength, and beauty. The columns of wisdom and strength are emblematically represented by the pillars in the south and north, respectively, and the candidate, as he is brought into the lodge, is caused to represent the third column, that of beauty. Because man is between heaven and earth. Human beings are beautiful, beautiful creations of our Creator, our Supreme Being, our God. Three legs being infinitely more stable than two. Now the winding staircase and the lecture for that. The staircase lecture is unique in the Blue Lodge trilogy of degrees because it is given not by the master or acting master. Say, like, if your worshipful master is out sick or something, you know, somebody will act like the worshipful master for that night. Or if he's got to work late, whatever, you know. And let me take a sip of coffee because my mouth is getting dry. So are my lips. Here he is. Un momento, okay? I've told you, when my lips get dry, dude, I can't read. Like, I don't know. I don't get it. But that's okay. Because we are moistness right now. And we're all good. So, not given by the master or acting master, as was the lecture of the preceding degree, which was entered apprentice. Ooh, I'll back that up. Sorry, you're like right in my face. Let's see, where was I? But by the senior deacon, acting as a personal guide and mentor to the candidate. In this role, the senior deacon emulates and exemplifies the very real responsibility of the more senior Mason to guide and educate his less knowledgeable brother in a way of the craft. Taking responsibility for teaching the younger, less experienced Masons is vital to the survival of the fraternity, and whereas the greater responsibility rests with the Master Mason of the Lodge, fellow crafts, as well as expected to assist in the education and mentoring of entered apprentices. So, you're always going to help educate someone that's less educated than you. And that's a part of your obligation. As it should be in all life. It really should be. Not just with employment, that you've been working there for a long time, you know what you're doing, and you need to educate the new kid coming into work. You know, it should be throughout all of life. So, every Mason should realize that teaching the craft to our younger and less experienced fellows is not only a responsibility, but a great privilege. And the accomplishment of this task, properly done, can be a great source of personal satisfaction to any Mason. So, when you help someone, even if it's just in your job, dude, you feel good knowing that you taught the kid how to do it right, you know? The winding staircase itself is a symbol of ascension, of coming up, of matriculating, or passing. It is described as consisting of a curved flight of 3, 5, and 7 steps. While much of the symbolism of the winding staircase was explained by your guide in the ritual itself, there are some interesting points worthy of further examination. Now, 3 theological virtues. It should be clear by now that the number 3 is highly significant in Freemasonry. First, second, third degree. Yeah. There are 3 degrees, 3 great lights, 3 columns, which I just read that part to you. 3 grand masters mentioned in our ritual, 3 principal tenets of Masonry, which are brotherly love, relief, and truth. And if you fall short on any of those, don't even bother calling yourself a Mason until you can grasp the reality of that. There are a lot of Masons, and we take it to heart. But if you've been allowed to become a Mason, and it's not fully in your heart, you're not my brother. Even though legally you might be. And 3 theological virtues, which is faith, hope, and charity. So if you're all about those, but you're not about charity, you might want to sit back and study some more. And yes, I know, even Satanists can perform charity every day of their life, but give me a break, dude. I mean, hello? Where do people come up with this crap? From a video they saw on YouTube. Well, I'm putting my stuff on YouTube, dude. You can watch all this crap, and you can seriously learn what's going on. You don't want to learn? You want to believe all kinds of crap that isn't true? Go for it, dude. I'm not going to tell you not to. You want to think we're all baby killers, or we control the planet, or, you know, whatever you want, man. But if you want to say that we control the planet, we'd like to tell you, we don't control everything, just the important things. Because it's cute, dude. You know? Like, no. Not everything, just the important things. But at the same time, dude, seriously? Make me the leader. Yeah. I mean, come on. Don't y'all want to lead something? And you want to lead something great, dude. Where we was? These virtues are often symbolically represented as a ladder to heaven, another symbol of ascent and raising. Heaven. And we're not talking about Warren, dude. And I love Warren. Rest in peace, Janie Lane. We're talking about heaven with God. So yeah, we keep going back over things. And a lot of them are kind of religious over or undertoned, however you'd like to call it. Okay? Keep that in mind. We're not a religion. But we do kind of take these things to be better people. Because we're all going to die at some point. And if we have to go to heaven, you don't want to be a jerk while you're here on planet Earth. You want to be worthy of getting through those gates, right? The 4 cardinal virtues represented in the first degree complement these in the sense that the 4 are symbolically horizontal, which is basically dealing with our actions here on Earth. Now, while the 3 are symbolically vertical, referring to the ascent to further light or knowledge. Masonic aprons are composite examples of the 3 and the 4 making 7. Look at the shape. And dude, I really don't know if Google is, or Gmail, you know what I mean? It could be Masonic. I have no idea. I mean, like, really, if we've got some brothers that work in Google and, you know, that'd be awesome. But it could be that they just like the symbol. And our aprons have a length to width ratio of 4:3 to remind us of those divine proportions. Once again, talking about God. The first 3 steps in our staircase also represent the 3 principal officers of the lodge. They are the worshipful master, the senior warden, and the junior warden. And they, in turn, symbolically denote wisdom, strength, and beauty. Now, the 5 orders of architecture. The 5 orders of architecture are Doric, Ionic, Corinthian, Tuscan, and Composite. So you'll see that throughout history, like in the Greek temples and so on, you know what I mean? Or the White House has pillars, and there you go, dude. The Doric, Ionic, Corinthian were the original orders or classic forms of architecture designed by the Greeks. Tuscan and composite are essentially of Roman origin and are considered to be only modifications of original Greek design. The Parthenon on the Acropolis, dedicated to Athena, is a classic Doric architecture, as is her temple at Delphi. The Ephesian temple of Diana, a moon goddess, is Ionic. Now, the study of architecture relating to the construction of the ancient temples, including the Great Temple of Solomon, read your Bible, is interpreted, that sounded really weird to me. Wait a minute. Okay, the Great Temple of Solomon is interesting from both a historic as well as a Masonic point of view, as was explained by your guide when contemplating the 5 orders and their original derivation. They derive. The number 5, and I don't pronounce everything accurately. I probably never will. You don't like it? Hey man, tomato, tomato. I'm from New York. Upstate. Yeah. I'm not really a huge fan of NYC. But, you know, whatever. My mentality is still the same. Yeah. And New York is waved by this. That's true. Not bad. So anyway, the number 5 also represents the 5 physical senses of man's physical nature, being hearing, seeing, feeling, smelling, and tasting. It is by way of these 5 senses that we experience and interact with the physical world around us, with our fellow beings, and also make ourselves known to our brother Masons via the first 3, hearing, seeing, and feeling. This was explained to you in a greater detail by your guide during this degree. So I keep saying things like that. Now, the only way you're going to experience this and have that moment of, it was explained to you, you know what I mean? Is if you yourself feel the need to become a Mason. If not, you know, you're just going to learn what I learned, here you go, you know. But if you really want to see this for yourself, you want to experience it for yourself, by all means, you should become a Mason. And if it's not right for you, after you become a Mason, and then it's not right for you. No big deal. Okay? Seven liberal arts and sciences. Have you been to college? The 7 liberal arts and sciences are grammar, rhetoric, and I hate that word anymore because we have a pile of crap for a president, and he's thrown that rhetoric all around, and I'm getting sick and tired of hearing it, man. That pile of garbage needs to go back to New York City. Stay out of the White House. You don't deserve to be in my office. And stop throwing rhetoric around like it's a slam on people, you know? You're just dumb. I mean, our president, Trump, is dumb. I mean, borderline retarded. And I don't mean that with a physical handicap. I mean that in a mental handicap. Our president, Trump, is mentally handicapped. You don't like it? Too bad, man. And if he doesn't like it, maybe he should pick up a couple of books called First, Second, and Third Grade and then start going from there. You know, read, study, become a little more knowledgeable, and stop being so dumb. But he's got an ego. Ego is edging God out. The man thinks he's God. And yet we are all part of divinity. We are a little piece of our Creator that makes our heart pump, blood pump, brains function, all of that. But you're not God. I'm not God. I'm just an extension of. And that man's got too much of an ego. Because he's edged God right out. So anyway, while I just went off on a tangent, because, I mean, I read the word rhetoric, and it irritates me, because I can't stand Trump. I think he's garbage. I think he's unfit for the position of being president of the United States. I think we as a country, and every country, deserve better than having a leader like him. All he is a dictator. Just like Kim Jong-un. And if you want to go back in time, you know, we can all see what he matches up to. And you can Google and you can see all kinds of Trump comparisons to a former dictator. You know? Because you act just like him. Now, the 7 liberal arts and sciences are grammar, rhetoric, logic, arithmetic, geometry, and music and astronomy. Of these 7, geometry is considered by Freemasons to be of greatest significance because it is the basis upon which the superstructure of Masonic symbolism and mythos is erected. And that is the sacred geometry of life. Without geometry, the grand architectural accomplishments of mankind would not have been built. Great edifices. I love saying that. Including the Egyptian pyramids and the cathedrals of Europe, and some of those are stunning. And I've yet to see them in person. I need to go over there. They're made possible by the proper applications of geometry, which is believed by many Mason or Masonic historians to be the true secret known to master stonemasons of all ages and passed down from the generation to generation in secret ceremonies predating speculative masonry by thousands of years. So if you really want to know the secret of Freemasonry, because everyone thinks we have secrets, I just read it to you, dude. The other 6 liberal arts and sciences, all have their place in society, each one supporting the other to form a synergistic environment of learning where the whole is greater than the sum of its parts. Grammar supports rhetoric, which can expound on logic, which can be explained by mathematics, and geometry, which enabled the astronomer, to observe the planets and stars, and so calculate orbits and partially define our vast universe. The modern Freemason is expected to be conversant, so you can talk about these things, with all of the 7 skills, or at least appropriate, appreciate their place in. So as long as you're doing this right, you know enough that you can hold a conversation with, there you go. And many contributions to Masonic life and human history. So for grammar, is one of the triad of skills dedicated to the cultivation of language. Grammar is that particular discipline which rejects from language all barbarous expressions, and so constructs and regulates civilized language according to a fixed and proper formula. There's other languages that don't have proper English. because they're in other languages. Like English, for America anyway, and I'm sure in the other one too, is all proper English. I am going to the store. Yet in some other language, you might just say, you know, dude, I'm going to the store, man. You know what I mean? I was actually going to give you another language, and I'm just like, come on, dude, I'm already taking way too much time. I should really stop. Rhetoric. Here we go with that crap again. The second leg of the triad refers to the proper adornment, embellishment, and refinement of language to enable the speaker to persuade or affect his listeners. Can't imagine where that's coming from, or who's been using it lately. It is the art of oratory, O-R-A-T-O-R-Y, and was considered an essential skill for the educated man in ancient times, and was so included in the 7 arts and sciences as appropriate to the education of a Mason. Now, logic, the third of the triad, is occupied by the right of reasoning, the faculty which distinguishes a man of sound mind from the madman and a fool. So logic is considered an essential skill for the Mason so that he may properly comprehend his rights and responsibilities to the fraternity. So I think logic should be taught in Bible school. And if you've ever come across one of those people walking around with a sign and a Bible in your hand, you know what I'm saying. Now, arithmetic is a science which is engaged in considering the properties and powers of numbers, and which, from its obvious necessity in the operation of weighing, numbering, and measuring, are skills indispensable to the builder, and which we therefore value for its contributions to our ancient brothers in their daily work and their continuing usefulness today. Math is really important. I was trying to get my cousin's son, the oldest son, last night because I was hanging out with him while everyone went shopping. And we were watching Scott Flansburgh. Scott Flansburgh, love you, is the human calculator. Like, he makes me want to sue my school for teaching me wrong. You know? Like, yeah. So if you don't know who Scott Flansburgh is, go to YouTube. Watch some of his videos. When you're all done here, just chill out and learn some math. The easy way. Now, geometry. Although already particularly explained, geometry is so vital to Freemasonry that it deserves further explanation. It is that infallible and measurable logic upon which the whole doctrine of mathematics is founded. Sacred geometry. Watch some things on sacred geometry. You'll see where math plays into play. Okay? And is so closely connected to the practice of operative Masons that our ancient brothers were often called geometricians as Masons. Now, Plato, that dude, not the putty, Plato thought so highly of geometry that he placed over the portals of his academy the following inscription: "Let none enter who is ignorant of geometry." So back in that day of hanging out with Plato and Socrates and all of those peoples, right? Plato was saying this, like, you have to be fully versed, knowledgeable in geometry before you can even walk through his doors. He's supposed to be a brother too. Was he? I don't know, man. Can I prove it? No. I'm sure somebody could. Music. Interestingly, music has very often been called the geometry of the soul. I hear music in my head. Let me pause, because I just said something. Just being stupid and taking an extra moment away, right? Dude, I really do hear music in my head. All the time. Ever since I had my accident as a child, I hear music and I scramble all over. Like, I grew up as, you know, in my teenage years after my accident, just freaking out. Dude, I know what, I've heard this before. Come on, man. Where is that? I've heard this before. Is it on this? No, 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 no. And I will do that until I realize, oh, dude, the music that I'm hearing isn't something that's been done. It's up there. There's a lot of people who've had my accident. However, theirs turned out because of, but had same sort of situations and that hear music in their head. And it's like the most beautiful, divine music I've ever heard in existence. And I do try to have moments with my guitar that I'll sit down and I'll try and play it. I do that a lot. I've done that ever since I was a kid, dude. 12 years old. So, based on its own mathematics and physics, because music is mathematical. Music is recommended to the Mason because, as the concords of sweet sounds elevate the generous sentiments of the soul, so my brothers strive to emulate the harmony of music and avoid the discord and unbridled passions. The art of music is considered to be one of a truly magnificent gifts of our Creator for the benefit of mankind. Dude, I don't really know about that. But I do know, like I said, I do hear music and it's pretty divine, man. All these years I thought, oh my god, it's got to be Jason Becker, it's got to be Yngwie, it's got to be like something. And it's just not. Like, I don't get it, man. But I hear music in my head all the time. Sometimes it's loud. And you can talk to me and I'm like, dude, I don't know what you just said to me, man. Like, and I feel bad because I'm all like, man, I just sat here and toned you right out, you know? But that's the way it is. My bad. If you don't like it, speak louder than the music in my head. Don't scream at me. Okay, but anyway, astronomy. Astronomy and its older sibling, astrology, is that science which instructs us in the physical laws which govern our universe. Astronomy, of course, owes much to geometry, without which the measurements of diurnal patterns. I've read this book before. I don't ever remember reading this word before, and I'm just looking down and I'm like, I don't think I know that word. My bad. It's D's in Dumbo, I's in Iago, U is in Ursula, R is in Ratatouille, N is in Neverland, A is in Ariel, L is in Lilo. Yeah, I used to be a travel agent for Disney. Can you tell? One of the worst jobs I ever had. Planetary rotations and orbits, spatial relationships, and all the other necessities of astronomical observation and calculation would not be remotely possible. The many practical benefits of geometry in relation to mankind in general, and Freemasons in particular, were expounded upon by the Master during the closing ceremonies of the second degree. So once again, if you want to actually witness that whole explanation by the master or whatever, you know what I mean? Like, you're gonna have to become a Mason in order to see these things. So if what you're hearing and learning from me or elsewhere, dude, I don't care, man. But I mean, if it fits for you in your life and you do want to see stuff like this, it is some of the most beautiful, beautiful moments. You can take a couple hours out of that day to see some stuff going on. It's going to change you. It's stunning. It is like the closest to a royalty moment that I've ever seen. Because I'm not from the UK with, you know, the king and queen and all that crap, you know what I mean? But it is the closest thing that I personally have seen to something that's royal. And it comes off as royal because we take ourselves that seriously and we dress accordingly and we're not all out in, you know, like Jason Becker and Slayer and Pantera t-shirts and Motley Crue and everything else, you know what I mean? And ripped up jeans and all of that. And I mean, like, we have certain attire. We conduct ourselves accordingly. And it's just amazing to see. So if you ever have a moment where you're allowed to go to your local lodge and see something like that, go. Even if you don't want to be a Mason, just go. Just for the sake of seeing some things. Because it'll blow your mind, man. Now, admission into the middle chamber. In the fellow craft degree, the senior deacon leads the candidate from the outer porch and up the winding staircase of wisdom and knowledge, showing his first-hand path by which his less noble passions are transcended. So, as you get closer and closer to God and your end of days, you become more knowledgeable and you let go of all that crap in your past. Do you get it? Once the candidate has symbolically mastered his intellectual faculties, represented by the 3 first steps, the symbolism of the number 5 and the 7 liberal arts of sciences. Hi! What are you doing here?
My tummy hurted.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did your dad come and pick you up?
Yeah.
Yeah? Oh, good. I'm glad. How do you feel now?
A little stomach.
Yeah? Are you going potty too? Is it that kind of a tummy ache? No, it's just sore?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I hope you feel better. So,
I just missed Chacho. He missed me.
yeah, he did, didn't he?
What you doing?
I'm reading.
Oh!
But anyway, I'm going to stop right here, right now, and I will continue on later on. Hang on, honey. Hang on. I will continue afterwards, and I will finish this up. There's only a few more pages, and then it leads you into the questions, and then we'll go from there, okay? So, stay tuned for part 2 of the Fellowcraft. But, you know, we'll hang out with the kids. I'll see what's going on, blah, blah, blah. Have a wonderful day. Namaste. Do something you love.